Is gray wood good or bad? Yes is the answer. I'm going to explain right now why it's good and it's bad. It's kind of both. So there is a lot of people that think when your wood turns dark gray like this, that it's bad. And the reason is it's generally going to be people that aren't really involved in producing and selling wood, or it might be people that are new to the firewood community as far as burning it or using it. And the reason they're going to think it's bad is they're going to think, oh, it's old, it looks ugly, it's not pretty. And they're right, it's not, but that's a good thing. And it's a bad thing. So if you sell wood and you've been burning wood for a very long time, you know that the darker the wood gets, whether it's stuff like this is maple, hard maple, oak will do this, ash will do this, box elder will turn dark, locust, hickory, it all turns dark like this. There's very few kinds of wood that will stay light. Even pine will get dark. And the reason it does is because it is an organic material and it is starting the process of breaking down, but very, very slowly and very, very little. Now this wood here is 2 years old from the time that I had cut it and split it. So the longer it sits, the darker it will get, to a point where it's about this dark. That's about as dark as it'll get. It's a real dark gray. It's not really black. It's not that it's molded. It's not that it's infected with any kind of a disease or fungus. It's just aging, and that is natural for wood to do when it's in the elements. And the reason it happens is that as it gets wet and dries, it gets wet and dries, and the sun hits it and it gets wet and it dries. Pretty much every day, especially if you live in an area where you've got condensation, you've got some dew overnight, the dampness will get on the wood, or if it rains or sprinkles, things like that. And as that water is on that, what happens is that it has a little bit of a tendency to actually break down the wood. And that is caused from the water, from the rain, and the sun. And there is probably microscopic little bacteria things in there doing their thing to break down this organic material. However, that's not bad because it happens so slow. It would take a very long time for it to get broke down, years. And again, it's going to be just a little bit at a time. So you literally have years where it's going to be good. Now, the big difference in this darker wood and wood that is bright and freshly split, or wood that is new or younger as far as how old it is that this stuff is going to be as dry as it's going to get. Stuff that's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and it's going to look like this. It's going to be excellent wood because it's going to be as dry as it's ever going to get. And that's what you want. So gray wood or dark wood like this is actually a good thing. Now, unfortunately, it's not as pretty. It looks like it might be bad. It's kind of like a person in that when they get a little tan, they look healthier. However, sometimes you get too much tan over a bunch of time, you can get kind of leathery looking. And that happens when you get older. So wood that looks fresh isn't necessarily going to be good, because if it looks like it's freshly split, and I'll show you some of that, will look like this. It's going to be brighter, it's going to be prettier, it's going to be nicer looking, it's going to be fresher, kind of like a newborn baby's skin. Well, maybe I wouldn't say that, but it's nicer looking because it's more youthful. And that's a big deal for a lot of people. However, that doesn't make it good wood. This happens to be a piece of white ash. This is a piece of soft maple, also known as silver maple. Both good wood that I sell quite a bit of for campfire wood, for fireplace wood, and for people that heat with wood. There are other woods out there, but these are two real popular ones I sell a lot of. And when I deliver to people, this is what they want to see. Unfortunately, sometimes I have wood that looks like this. So there's the difference. You're going to have a brighter color and a darker color. And they're going to think, oh, this is icky. But actually, if I was heating with wood, or if I was buying wood from someone, the gray stuff is what I would want, because it's older. And what that means is it's more weathered, it's more aged, it's more seasoned, more dry, ready to burn now. Whereas this could be, might be. Now, you can have wood look like this that is 2 or 3 years old, but if there's water hitting it, or if there's sun hitting it, it will turn like this. And a lot of people, when they see it, they want this pretty wood. They go, oh, that looks like some really nice wood. And it could be, but to keep it like this, you generally have to stack it or have it in an enclosure, a wood shed, or in a pile that you would have a tarp over it to cover the top to keep the sun and water from hitting it. And that's a good thing for long-term storage. Now, when I'm drying my wood, I prefer to have it out in the open. And the reason I want it out in the open is I want the sun and wind to hit it all the time. A little bit of rain is not going to hurt it. In my piles of wood that I have in my wood yard, I will have piles of wood that are 8, 9, 10 feet high, and it's cone shaped. Water will drain off of it. It only goes down, even if you get an inch or two of rain, the water only penetrates down into the pile, maybe a foot, foot and a half, and that's as far as it goes. It gets a little bit absorbed into the wood, but it also is continuously evaporating. Now, when water hits the wood and sits on it from a rainstorm, it's only on it for a few hours, maybe a day. Sun comes out, the wind hits it, it dries off, so it's constantly being evaporated. And that is actually a good thing because it helps actually speed the drying process with the wind and the sun hitting it, because that's what you want. And time. Those are the three things that it takes to dry wood. Wind, air movement, sun or heat, and air movement. Those three things, that's what dries wood. If I was to put this in a black plastic bag and cover it so that no sun hits it, no rain hits it, put it in an area that's cool underneath the pile, it would not dry. What would happen is the inside of that black plastic bag would get a lot of condensation from the wood. It would hold all that moisture in. It wouldn't go anywhere. You need the airflow, you need the sun, and you need some time. So time is a huge thing, but the airflow and the sun are every bit as important. Now, another thing that matters is the size of your splits. And that's something too a lot of people don't think of. If you're producing wood this size, which is what most of my customers want for burning in a fireplace or a fire pit, camping, that kind of stuff, which is most of my customers, this is what they want. Something that anybody can pick up with one hand, that even a child can pick up and move. If it's a great big huge monster piece, it's going to take a lot longer to dry. So I want my wood to be dry in 3 to 6 months so I can turn it over and I can continuously sell it. If it's going to take a year or two to dry, which would happen with a big, huge chunk, say you take an 18 or 20 inch round and you split it in half, that's going to take at least a year, maybe 2 years to dry. So that's why I want this size stuff. So I just went around to the other side of this pile and I pulled off two pieces. This one was on top. This one here was underneath. They were sitting like this. And the reason they did that, I want to show you. The top piece was exposed to the sun and the rain and wind and all that good stuff. The bottom piece was covered. See the difference in color? Same age of wood. But the top one is probably going to be drier because it had sun hitting it more often. Now this wood is 2 years old, so I'm sure it's very dry. This is hard maple, excellent firewood. So if you're selling wood, this is going to be more appealing than this because most people don't know this is good. This is actually a fully seasoned piece of wood. And I have had wood that I have bought from another supplier, a guy that actually sold wood, quit selling wood, had wood that was sitting for 2 years in piles, all stacked. It was oak, and he had it in rows that were about a full cord long, so it was 4 feet high, and it was 24 feet long. He had lots of rows. I bought, I think, somewhere right around 10 full cords from him. Now, some of the wood that was on top looked like this. And a lot of the wood that was underneath looked like this because the sun and wind were hitting it. Now, when I first looked at it, I saw, oh, that's some really old stuff. Is it rotten? Is it punky? Is it not good anymore? But as I took off the first layer or two, it started looking like this and it was beautiful. Now, some of those pieces were big. They were 30, 40 pounders because he was using it for heating and selling to people that heat with wood. And they were too big for my customers. So I split them down to this size. Now, when I split them open, some of those chunks, I was getting 2 and 3 and even 4 pieces of wood this size. And as I split it open, I did resplits. As I split it open, it actually started looking more like this instead of this. And it looked really nice. And when I delivered it, people were like, oh, that's some beautiful looking wood. But they didn't know that it originally looked like this. But there were sides that looked like this. So if you're selling it, this can be bad. But if you're burning it and you're someone that wants wood for heat or you want really high quality wood, this is good. But selling it, this is good because it's prettier. It looks fresher. It looks more youthful. And in our society, looks matter, unfortunately, because there's some really nice people that don't look so good, but they're nice people. And there's some really beautiful people that aren't so nice. So there's that. So this pile right here is a stack that I have had stacked here now for 2 years. I use this in my business as a background because I do photography. And it is kind of an area that I photograph a lot of people that do, you know, the flannel shirt, kind of outdoorsy look. And it's starting to look old. Now, when I first put it here, it was like this. This is the pieces that are the fresher ones that I just took out of my truck that I am going to do a delivery later today. And you can see this stuff looks a little fresher because I did dig it out from a big pile. Now, there's some stuff like this right here that are gray. And there's stuff like this that are next to it that are not gray. So this was from the top of the pile. And again, this stuff is all about a year old. There's a bunch of soft maple and ash in here is what's in here. But if you compare this to this, look at the difference. So a lot of people would look at this and say, oh, that's ugly. It's dark. I don't like it. But from a person that knows, because of experience, this is good stuff. I've been cutting wood for 56 years. I'm 63 years old. My dad started cutting and heating our house with wood when I was 7 years old. So I was the wood splitter, I was the wood stacker, I carried the wood in the house. So I've been helping for a very long time. So when I bought my first house, we had a fireplace, and this was 35 years ago, we had a fireplace. And I started cutting my own wood, besides having a fire pit in the backyard. And I started producing a lot of wood, and I got way more wood than I needed. And so I decided to start selling it, and that was almost 15 years ago now. And I do about 200 full cords a year. So I do have a little bit of experience. Plus I do talk with and meet with a lot of other people that heat with wood, sell wood, cut wood, like doing outside work with the firewood. So I have a little bit of experience when it comes to it. I'm not like new to the game here. And I do talk to a lot of people in the industry, whether it's in the machinery type stuff in the industry or people that actually produce wood. And I have talked to people that sell semi-loads a day of firewood. So all the way down to the guy that just cuts and burns for himself a few cords a year. So I talked to a lot of people, and this is a common thing that people like pretty wood. This is the color that they're gonna like. So this is the stuff I pulled out of the truck here for my delivery, and I want you to see the difference between this and this. Look at the ends, how gray this is. Look at how pretty and light this is, and you can see the difference. However, like I said, dark wood, gray wood is good and bad. It just depends on how you look at it and your perception. And you should all know, for people that are new to this, gray wood is good wood. It's aged, it's weathered, it's fully seasoned, ready to burn now. If you got wood that's light, it might not be. So you might want to take a moisture meter and test it. And you do that by splitting it open and checking the inside. Now, the light colored wood, like I have in this truckload right over here that I loaded up this morning, this stuff is also a year old, but it was covered and not in the sun for the most part. Some of it is gray like you see here, or like this piece down here. But this is more of what my customers want. They want it to look kind of pretty. So I try not to put all dark wood in there, even though some of it is going to be in there. And when they see it, they like it. So if you're selling wood, pretty stuff is good. If you're burning wood, the dark stuff is good. I have also noticed when I stop in at gas stations and they have bundle wood there that's for sale, quite a few places will have a couple different racks. And a lot of times you'll see wood that looks like this, and it'll be kind of like almost like discarded off to the side or down on the bottom. Or if you look at it, you can tell that the older wood has been taken out of the rack. They put fresh wood in, and then the darker stuff is put on top, kind of like in a store where they put the dented cans on top. They want you to pick those. And a lot of people dig through the pile to not pick out the dark gray weathered wood because they think, oh, that's ugly, that's no good, it's rotten, it can't be any good, it doesn't look as nice. I want the pretty wood underneath. And so they pick that and they take it. Unfortunately for them, they're passing up the good wood. So this is the stuff you want. So if you see old weathered wood in a wood stand and you're purchasing wood, pick the gray stuff. It's going to be older, drier, more aged, more seasoned, ready to burn. That's the good wood. That's all I got for today, folks. See you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. If you like what you just saw, there's 2,000 more videos on my channel, all about firewood. Good night, everybody.